Buongiorno, from the Coliseum, from the Roman Forum, from Piazza Venezia. But today we are not gonna visit anything of that. Today I'm gonna show you 5 very beautiful places, 5 hidden gems that as a tourist, as a foreigner, you probably never heard about. These are places that are out of the usual touristic paths, but are absolutely worth a visit. So join me in this little exploration of the unknown Rome and andiamo! Piazza Mincio is the heart of the little Coppedè quarter. In the center of this little square there is the famous Fountain of the Frogs. The Coppedè quarter was built at the beginning of the 20th century and was designed by an architect named Coppedè. The Coppedè quarter was conceived from the beginning as a residential area for elite people, rich people, artists, politicians. The Coppedè quarter has many ancient Rome elements. Even the material used to build it is the travertino. This is the same palace but on the other side, and this is the main entrance of the quarter. You will be welcomed by this huge chandelier in Liberty style. Here we are back in Piazza Mincio, and I want to make you see on the left the entrance of this palace, and the arch was made recalling the set design of the movie Cabiria, which was a popular movie colossal about the ancient Rome. One of the most famous residents of this neighborhood is the famous horror movie director Dario Argento, who, by the way, set in this neighborhood several scenes of some of his very famous movies. If you ask me how much can cost an apartment in the Coppedè quarter, the prices are probably beyond your imagination, assuming any apartments is on sale, because I don't think it's very easy to find an apartment for sale. Now we're gonna cross the nearby Trieste neighborhood, and I'm gonna show you one peculiar little square that you probably don't know is Piazza Caprera. And in Piazza Caprera there are some little bars where the best youth of Rome usually go to have an aperitivo. On my back, Piazza Caprera, as you can see, is full of young people having aperitivo. Check it out. This is Trieste quarter. It's a very rich, elegant neighborhood, and in this square was shot a very famous scene of a very famous Italian movie, which is C'eravamo tanti amati. The director was Ettore Scola, very famous Italian comedy slash drama director. And in this square there was the famous scene where Stefania Sandrelli tried to commit suicide. Now we are walking towards Villa Paganini, Paganini Park. This is a place that personally I like a lot, probably because it's a very unique atmosphere, and it's a place that even people from Rome don't know about. I mean, many people from Rome don't know about Villa Paganini, probably because it's located at the end of some narrow uphill streets, etc. And in my opinion, has a very magic atmosphere. It's a place very quiet, the ideal place to come if you want to read a book, if you want to paint, if you want to spend some time with your fiancé. At the end of Villa Paganini, also Trieste neighborhood ends. But now we're gonna enjoy for a couple of minutes the vibe and the magic of this wonderful Paganini Park. There is actually an elementary school just there, okay? And this is a very quiet place where you can come to relax, where you can come to experience a different Rome. Even here you can see these apartments that face the park, so with the park view, okay? And you may wonder how much they may be worth, how much may cost an apartment here. Well, honestly, I don't know, but for sure we're talking about 1 million, 2 millions. So again, guys, if you want to move to Rome, if you want to move in one of the best neighborhoods, you can definitely consider Trieste or Coppedè if you are a billionaire. Only in that case. In front of Villa Paganini, but in a different neighborhood, the Nomentano neighborhood, is Villa Torlonia, Torlonia Park. The park used to belong to aristocrat Roman families like Pamphili and Torlonia, and then from the 1920 it became the residence of Benito Mussolini. Mussolini lived in the Casino Nobile, which means noble little house, and Mussolini paid also a rent, and the rent was 1 lira per year, which is the equivalent of 1.20 euros of nowadays. And in front of the house there is also this very nice little lake. Now it's not very clean, but probably when Benito lived here, this was used to swim. This is one of my favorite places in the villa. This is where Mussolini played tennis. When Mussolini lived here, this field were basically tennis courts. Here we have a very nice little hill that now we're gonna climb, of course, because I'm a very active person. Whoa. Guys, today is hot, 35 degrees. But I'm strong. And from here, the view, if you can see we can see some roof. Now I'm gonna show you, this area is a very elegant area, very expensive. Anyway. Let's go back down. Through this path we are going to Casina delle Civette. Inside as a museum, and as you can see, it's very, very unique. This is a serra. These on my back are fake Roman ruins. Yes, because in the project there were also some fake Roman ruins. So you can see this one, I guess, is the last house in the woods, and this one is probably the second last house in the woods. And as you can see, More than in Villa Paganini, in Villa Torlonia there are a lot of properties that face the park. Some of them are basically inside it, okay? And a funny fact, while I was filming, a woman screamed at me from the balcony, asking what I was doing, why I was filming. She also asked me if I was planning a robbery. And then she told me that she had recently 2 thefts in her house, with people breaking and entering the house from the balcony, etc., etc. So as you can see, owning one of these marvelous and probably very expensive apartments in such a prestige area of Rome is not always rainbows and unicorns. San Saba is probably the best neighborhood of Rome. San Saba has a peculiarity. It was built 100 years ago, and all the houses were public housing, which means council estate houses. So San Saba was born as a working class neighborhood. It's considered one of the most intelligent and successful architectonic experiments in Rome. The main difference with the other Rome public housing is that here the housing are not huge blocks of 10, 20 floors. It's little houses, everyone has his own little garden. San Saba has been built thinking about the livability of the place, which means a lot of green spaces. Is well protected, meaning that to get here is not particularly easy. You have to climb some stairs. If you come by car, there are a lot of one-way streets, roundabout. It's a sort of hidden little quarter in the very center of Rome, because it's very near to Circo Massimo, Caracalla. Piazza Bernini, Bernini Square, is the heart of San Saba. And as you probably may notice, is a place for families, but also for young people who come here, who gather in an environment which is very quiet, very tranquil, and also very safe, because if you go in the center of Rome, for instance, unfortunately you often may find pickpockets. You may find the chaos of the center of a big city, okay? San Saba Church is the cornerstone of the neighborhood. It's a former monastery, actually, built in the Middle Age, precisely in the 7th century after Christ. And around this church was designed the whole neighborhood. There are schools, there are sport playgrounds, all in the neighborhood, all right? Most of his inhabitants are still the grandsons of the first inhabitants of the public housings, meaning that the first inhabitants had their houses assigned by the public administration, by the city hall, and so these people are still the authentic Roman citizens in a neighborhood that now has become very elitarian. San Saba is on a hill, the Aventino Hill. You know that Rome has 7 hills, famously. San Saba still maintains its authenticity in terms of you can still find the little shop, the little grocery shop that the same family owns the shops since maybe 100 years or something like that. And again, this is a rarity in a neighborhood so central in the city of Rome, okay? Because most part of the center of Rome has been somehow taken over by the mass tourism, which means a lot of restaurants, cafes, bars that mostly are for tourists, while here the cafes, the little restaurants, the little shops are for the local people, so for the people of the neighborhood, okay? As I told you, there are a lot of stairs in order to get to San Saba. Now we have to go down. Down there we go towards Circo Massimo and Colosseo, okay? One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One moment. Take a breath. 61, 62, 60. 100. 100 and 101, 2. 124, 125, 126, 126 steps. The tambourine steps, also known as the Glorioso steps. These steps have two names. The original name is actually tambourine steps. Tambourine means little drummer. And the legend says that at the end of the 19th century, Italy was on war against France, and a very fierce battle was taking place here in the surrounding. This little drummer was a little boy. He was 16, so he couldn't fight, he couldn't have a rifle because he was too short and too young, so he was just a little drummer. And at one point in the battle, the situation was very hard for the Italians, so this little guy he dropped his drum and grabbed a rifle from a dead soldier. He went ahead and began to shoot, and he killed a lot of French, probably 20, 30 French. Then he was shot and he died, but from then he became a hero. His death happened, I think, there, okay, on top, and so this step was named in honor of this little drummer. And I assume, since it's a very poetic concept, that Bob Dylan, when he wrote Mr. Tambourine Man, he took inspiration from this fact. So it's the sacrifice of the little man for the motherland, okay? So it's a very poetic and fascinating concept. Tambourine steps, or Glorioso steps, is also a place where the new generations of artists, particular musicians, they use it to gather here. Very famous music group, rap, is called 126 Gang. It takes name from the 126 steps. They are very famous actually. Franco 126, they used it to come here when they were kids, when they were teenagers. They met each other here, they created a group, a gang, and eventually, when they were around 25, 26, they became professional, and some of them became famous. So here, on these steps, some art was born. And if we talk about art, we absolutely have to remember the #1 artist of Rome, the one and only, the movie director Sergio Leone. Sergio Leone had a movie project titled Viale Glorioso. Viale Glorioso is here ahead of me. This is Viale Glorioso. Because Sergio Leone was born in Viale Glorioso, and he spent his childhood playing with other kids on these steps. So he had this movie project, but he never found the funding, because Sergio Leone was very famous for the spaghetti western. So the producers say, Sergio, we are making a lot of money with the western, why risking our reputation making a nostalgic movie about your childhood, etc. So the movie was actually never made. The greatest movie director of all times, Sergio Leone. The right pronunciation is Sergio Leone, but I say it in the English in the English way, Sergio Leone, okay? But I like to say Sergio Leone. Anyway, and this is a plaque in memory of Sergio Leone. I translate. My way to see the things sometimes is naive, a little bit childish, but sincere, like the kids who played in the steps of Glorioso Street. Sergio Leone. The beach we are going now is very popular because you can reach it by metro. There is a train that connects Rome to this beach in Austria. Usually a lot of working class people go there, but not only. Also like young people, students, also tourists of course. And the good thing is that you will go to the seaside basically spending only 1.5 euro, and that's because one ticket, the same ticket you use for the bus and for the metro, you can use it also to get on this train. Okay, this train here. You have to go here. Okay, Cristoforo Colombo. So this is Columbus. So now we're gonna here on the track, you see Cristoforo Colombo, 16:15 there will be a train, right? Are we gonna wait? From here we're gonna catch a bus and we'll go to Cancelli beach. Cancelli beach is actually a series of beaches, one next to each other, and are very popular because you can get for free. You can lay on the beach for free. The sea is moderately clean. I mean, for being the Roman coast is not bad. Alright, we are at gate number 3. This is my favorite beach because it's less crowded. I like the entrance here. Now I'm gonna show you. As you can notice, this beach gate number 3 is very quiet. It's where people come to be really far from any noise. There are not even sunbed or umbrellas to rent. And the sea, as you can see, is the typical Roman sea, which is not very clean, but you can swim. Let's go in the bar down there. Buongiorno. Un'acqua minerale piccola, per favore. My God, I'm dehydrated. Now I'm gonna take you to another beach, a bit more posh, with a more elegant bar. Okay, so let's take another bus. Let's have another little adventure. As you may notice, this beach is much more elegant and posh than the last one. So if your budget allows, you can come here to Paradiso Beach. And here we are at Villaggio Tognazzi, Tognazzi village. It takes the name from Ugo Tognazzi, the Italian king of comedy, was a very popular, famous and loved comedian. He had here his holiday mansion in Tor Vaianica. This area is actually called Tor Vaianica. And he famously organized here some legendary parties, inviting all the star system of Italian cinema. We are talking about the golden age of Italian cinema. So we are talking about people like Marcello Mastroianni, Monica Vitti, Federico Fellini, Michelangelo Antonioni, Sergio Corbucci, international stars like Brigitte Bardot, Thomas Milian, Klaus Kinski, Jean-Paul Belmondo. Everybody came here in Villaggio Tognazzi. In this complex here, there is the villa. There was the villa of Ugo Tognazzi, okay, down there. And Ugo was also a very good cooker, so during these parties he cooked for his guests. He organized tennis tournaments, he organized cooking tournaments. I think I have to run because I have to catch the bus who is there. Hope I'm gonna make it. See you in the next video. and viva Ugo!